Sometimes I can't tell when that's live or not, so if it's delayed, that's my bad. Hey guys. I never really know exactly what I'm going to say. I know that I said I was going to talk about Moline, and I will eventually. But as I was sitting here waiting to go live, my mind goes so fast. Like you think Tasmanian devil went fast as a kid. you, you should see the inside of my brain between my ears. So trying to settle on something to talk about when there's so much is kind of hard. So thank you for your patience. I'm going to assume that maybe you've seen some of the other videos. Today I wanted to, well, before I just jump into Moline, a couple times in my other videos, I've talked about how the investigation, the whole charade has been done with body doubles. And I want to go so far as to say probably clones and or lookalikes, but definitely, I mean, I don't know about the like clones genetically, but they definitely hired people from media companies and people to be stand-ins. And I talk about that elsewhere, so I want to stay focused. So the whole plan was to confuse and deceive. And that's why I mentioned so many times that when you read the 214 pages that are available online at the Carver County website, as well as many other websites that are out there, have other investigative files and the phone records and stuff like that. And so again, as I've mentioned before, I printed all that stuff out. And what I share here is not conspiracy. It's straight from the files. I hesitate to call it an investigation because it wasn't an investigation. It's a lie. And the information that's available in the investigation proves that what they told the media was a lie. So I really and truly don't understand how they can get away with it. And my sole purpose in life is this, among some other things that I have to do. But anyway, so as I mentioned, they were doing with body doubles and lookalikes. Now, what I want to say about that before I jump right into Moline was this, and people can wonder why I say body doubles and lookalikes. Well, this is one of the reasons, and this is a very important reason. And again, before I get into Moline, Kirk Johnson was said to have got the Percocet from Dr. Schulenberg on the 14th. And also on the 14th, he got 10 Tylenol 3 with codeine from Dr. Elizabeth Boo, the dentist. Now, before I get into that, what I wanted to mention was that she wasn't available until 2 o'clock on the 14th. She didn't come into work until 2 o'clock per her testimony in the reports. And then they talked on the phone per the texts and phone records back and forth. You can see that Kirk texted her several times during the day, and she texted back several times and said that she wasn't going to be available till 2. And then he had to pick up the prescription in person. Now, the reason that they sell that he was able to get that prescription was that one file says that he was being treated for a crown prep, and the other one said cracked tooth. So, which, by the way, he never went back to get fixed. That's part of the file too. It said that the patient needed it, was leaving out of town, had a cracked tooth, and was supposed to have an appointment with her that day to have that fixed. However, he couldn't make it due to going out of town, but he had to come and pick up the 10 Tylenol 3 with codeine in person from dentist Elizabeth Boo, which he did about 2:30. That's in the file. You know what's also in the file? That Kirk was on the plane leaving at 2:30 with the pilots, Jason Gallus and pilot Betchholt. So it says that they prepped the plane. It says, believe the flight was scheduled for departure to Atlanta around 1400 to 1430 hours, which is 2 to 2:30. And that Betchholt said Kirk told them while they were boarding that Prince wanted the door shut to the cabin, blah, blah, blah. That's not where I wanted to go with that. However, I did want to point out that he was on the plane at 2:30, getting ready to go to Atlanta. It says here he responded to Minneapolis International Airport for departure, 2:30. Now, over here, Dr. Elizabeth Boo, dentist, DDS, as reported in the files, says this. Well, I'll tell you, a touch on that real quick, because they don't report anything about Elizabeth Boo. And even though I said Moline, I'll get there. In the file, if you open up the magazines and the TMZ and this and that, they sell Dr. Schulenberg and Howard Kornfeld and Andrew and all of them. But what they don't tell you is anything about this dentist, Dr. Sarah Elizabeth Boo. She admitted to knowing Kirk Johnson, stating that she met him in 2004 when he was both a patient and her personal trainer, and that would be through Lifetime Fitness, who Kirk worked for and used the private jet for all the time to fly big groups of people around, because that's what the pilots attest to, but I'll get there. Anyway, check this out. Initially, Dr. Boo asked if they wanted to talk to her about the elevator incident with Prince, and she asked if she needed an attorney. Lombardi told her that he could not give her legal advice, and she decided on her own to just tell the investigators the story. According to Dr. Boo, she gave, Kirk Johnson called her the morning, April 14th, about a crown prep he had scheduled for later that afternoon, and she didn't start work until 2. Obviously, we know that's the same date that he was flying out. So the tooth was bothering him, so she prescribed the 10 Tylenol 3s, codeine, and clindamycin, an antibiotic in case there was an infection. Now, what's important to know is that when they searched Paisley Park afterwards, these pills in their pill bottle were found disposed of in the trash, with all of them still there. So nobody ever took those Tylenol 3 with codeine. They were in a trash can outside the soundstage studio, I believe they said. So anyway, she hadn't written any prescriptions in the last 2 years. So on the same day that Dr. Schulenberg wrote for the Percocet, she wrote for the Tylenol 3, that Kirk got both of them in his name. So anyway, Dr. Boo said that Kirk Johnson called her the Monday after the emergency plane landing, believing it to be the 18th, and told her about the plane story. One second. I didn't mean to get into all that. But what I meant to say was really about the body doubles, and how could Kirk both be on the plane flying out from Minneapolis to Atlanta and picking up a prescription from her. I have the file with the phone conversations across the room. I read those texts too. But on that note, I want to get back to Moline. On the board behind me here, you guys, when you read the files, what you'll notice is this. Well, in the beginning, I had told you guys there are 2 investigations at least. One is Prince Rogers Nelson death investigation residence, and the other one is the Paisley Park Studios Prince investigation. That's the one where they're trying to figure out where all the drugs came from, supposedly. So anyway, back to Moline. When you read the reports and everything like that, what you find out is that they're using not only body doubles and things like that, but the reports have Trinity Rock Unity Hospital, and then they also have, one second, I should have had that right there. Okay, now listen. I get excited. First of all, when you're in Atlanta and then in Minneapolis, you're both in the Eastern time zone and Central time zone. Okay, Minneapolis is Central and Atlanta is Eastern. Okay, so all these times that are reported in the report, they're actually meant to confuse us as well. So I just want to keep that in the back of your mind. I'm not going to get all into that, but Minneapolis is 1 hour behind Atlanta. So Central time is 1 hour behind Eastern time. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm not going to keep explaining that because it'll confuse me. When you're reading the files and they're talking about the investigations in Moline, some of the files report on Trinity Moline, which is 500 John Deere Road in Moline. 500 John Deere Road. It's Trinity Moline. There are 38 patient beds. It's mostly a cancer and women's center. And Then there is also, sorry, you guys, it's hot down here in the basement and dry, and I can't figure out what I want to do with my hair, apparently. Um, so there's Trinity Moline, and then what is the other one? Oh, the other one's called Trinity Rock Island Hospital. Now, this one is at 2701 17th Street in Rock Island, Illinois. This one has 327 beds, and it's a level 2 trauma center. Now, the reason that that's really important is because when you read the files, they talk to a Dr. Mancha. Her first name's in there somewhere, but Dr. Mancha is said in the file to have been treating, it was a very busy night, the night that she was at the hospital, and they were treating a gunshot victim amongst others. That's what it says in there. So you would know that they were at a level 2 trauma center, not the little Trinity Moline with 38 beds. So also what's interesting about the Trinity Rock Island level 2 trauma center, they do epilepsy monitoring and all kinds of state-of-the-art surgery suites, 7 of them, stuff like that. It's a pretty big deal, I guess. What's interesting too about Dr. Mancha is in the file, she will only refer to Prince as the patient. She won't ever call him Prince or Prince Rogers Nelson or anything else. She will only say the patient. That's just interesting to know. And again, I can't go there because when I do, I lose my train of thought. There's a reason for that, but why would she's probably well respected and didn't want to say something that wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're a physician, you're treating someone for an overdose or whatever, and you won't call them who they are. And plus in the file, it said that she didn't even realize till they called her to interview her. Don't let me say that. She said that she didn't know that she was treating anybody famous until one of the people in the room said something about the bodyguard, and then she realized it was Prince. So what I'm getting at is perhaps the person that was there didn't look so much like the one that we've come to know as Prince Rogers Nelson, because the other paramedics are in their file, they say that they knew right away that it was Prince, that because he's very distinctive. Their words, not mine. So I'm wondering why she didn't notice it and they did. Those are just some of the things. Now, Trinity Rock Island Hospital, 2701 17th Street, and then you have Moline Trinity, and they're both noted at 500 John Deere Road, and both addresses are noted in the file. So this isn't stuff that I'm making up. This is reality, you guys. Why does People Magazine not tell us this? Well, because they want to confuse us. Now, as it goes on, you guys, what you need to know is during the paramedic, I have to look back here to jog my memory. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Not only do they use body doubles and stuff, I think they got a bunch of, like, I don't know, actors, probably crisis actors like they use on various things. Because when you read the files, for instance, there'll be reports about the Moline Fire Department. They reported there was someone named Austin Rands, Rands, and his partner, Marco Leone. They were from the Moline Fire Department. Now, when you get to reading over here at the paramedics, EMS, emergency, they also, his name is something Fredrickson, and he also has a partner named Rands, Rands. So what they do all throughout the file, you guys, and this is very important if you go look it up, don't be confused, because what they do is they duplicate names. They're using doubles for everybody. Like, don't let me get distracted. There's multiple signatures for judges' names. Judge Eric Brayton has about 6 different signatures. You'll have paperwork where the Carver County Attorney's Office will have their name, address, phone number on the bottom after the so-and-so's signature. But then other paperwork has no information whatsoever. And you can literally tell the things are cut and pasted. So, anyway, one of the reports says this. Well, don't let me get ahead of myself. This is what's really important, you guys. And I mean, during the reports, there is one report that talks of an emergency landing where this private jet was flying at 45,000 feet, had an emergency, and descended in 10 minutes. Do you know how fast that is? Even for a private jet, 10 minutes, 45,000 feet. That's really fast. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I read and researched it, and it's really fast. But then it also says that jet beat the paramedics to the ground. Okay. So the emergency landing 45,000 feet in 10 minutes and beat the paramedics to the ground. Now, the other file says that the plane had to circle. I want to say it said that they were diverted 300 miles and then the plane had to circle for 20 minutes or something before they landed. So there you have two different stories, obviously. So what's interesting about that is because you have the what's the airport called? Quad City Airport, Moline. And what they don't tell you about is the little airport that's over in Rock Island. It's just a private landing strip, but it's an airport nonetheless. So I thought that was really interesting for sure. It's called Molly, Molli, Molly, NBD Airport. Molly NBD Airport, Rock Island, Illinois, 61201. It's not too far away from Quad City. So what I'm saying is it reads to me in my investigation that there's couple different planes landing. I was going to say several. Yes, I was. But anyway, so there's those stories. Now, as you're reading the reports, also, Austin Rands of the Moline Fire Department reports that he got a call late at night and that his crew was sleeping. He didn't say between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. He said late at night and the crew was sleeping. So that's important to know. Marco Leone, he said that he was called to an emergency landing to a male possibly not breathing. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that. Let me backtrack a little bit. Austin Rand said that it was late at night. The crew was sleeping and he was called to assist with a male not breathing. And then Marco Leone was the emergency landing male possibly not breathing. And then the reports go on to contradict each other when they say that there's a male getting off the plane. The stuff gets like so, I want to be polite, but it's like these files were written intentionally, like they were written to cause confusion. They didn't think that anybody would care enough to research them to get to the bottom of it or be told the inner secrets and have the wisdom from the creator himself that I am given to read within them, because he's the one that tells me all this anyway, so I can tell it to you. But, I'd be putting in some work too. So anyway, you guys, the other thing is this. The other reports go on to say that this one prince was taking 4 breaths a minute. Now, they gave him Narcan. Now, think about this. Usually 1 dose of Narcan will bring back an opioid overdose. I've done my research, so you can look up what I'm saying, but it might be a waste of your time. If someone has overdosed, you can use the little injector up their nose. 1 dose will bring them back. Usually, even a heavy user, sometimes 2 milligrams, and that's per the reports as well. So, in the one story, they used 2 milligram doses of Narcan. Now, Prince was reported to be 5'2" and probably 103 pounds. You're going to put 4 milligrams of Narcan in his body, and not only it wasn't through a plunger thing, it was reported to be IV infused. It says that they put him on a cot and started the infusion. Now, that's really, really important to note, you guys. This is real important because Narcan is typically and well known to be used for overdoses, yes, but I was looking it up to see if it was used for any other conditions. And what I found just last night is that I don't know specifically what the conditions are called, but say someone has a condition where their organs are deteriorating a bit, or, whatever, they're a little older or something. Well, if they get like the blood pressure drops or whatever, they get like blood pressure sepsis. I think it was something like that. Um, I'm not a doctor, but I'm playing one on my YouTube. Don't quote me. It was sepsis, something to do with the blood pressure and sepsis because of the failing type organs. Then Narcan could be used to enhance the blood flow to the organs, thereby reviving and bringing the blood pressure back to where it was supposed to be. So Narcan can be used for that. So what I'm getting at is my perception is that the one plane landing, the emergency plane landing, was for this prince with the overdose, and the other one was someone who might have been using Narcan for other purposes, because as you read the files, Narcan gets mentioned a bunch more times. IV infusions get mentioned a bunch more times. And my inner intuition right now is telling me that, we all know in the media, and at least, the prince we saw was portrayed to be very frail and possibly could have, had organs that weren't working so well. And, being that Dr. Schulenberg prescribed clonidine, which is for blood pressure as well as hydroxine, typically an antihistamine, but I believe they can use it for blood pressure if I'm not mistaken. Probably am, never know. Anyway, so I thought, well, golly, if you take those conditions and put them together, then that would explain the couple of plane landings. Now, also, the media says that that Prince went home to Paisley Park that night and tweeted Controversy, just Controversy, the song. But every single one of these reports say that he and the nurses and the doctors and everybody say that even the one nurse was there until 7:30 and left at 7:30 in the morning on the 15th, and that the other nurse came in and said the checkout time, and get this, you guys, was 9:34. And if you didn't catch that, the supposed 911 call came in at 9:43, and he checked out of the hospital at 9:34 a.m. So, yeah, their story. I'm just correcting it to the truth. So what I'm getting at is, how could Prince have been at home at Paisley Park tweeting Controversy? First of all, if he didn't use his cell phone. Not to mention, when you read the Beautiful Ones book, Scotty Pipenbring, or whatever his name is, I'm sorry, I don't mean to misquote, he wrote that the one day that Prince was known to have got his passport photo went like viral or something like that back in the 2016 or whatever, that Prince hopped on the plane with him, Scotty, and said, why is Prince in New York right now? And tweeted or Instagrammed, I can't remember which one, tweeted or Instagrammed, why is Prince in New York right now? And that was before the concert they threw, one of those times. I'm not sure which one. So again, there was tweeting and Instagramming going on, but the whole media was sold that Prince never used a cell phone because he was so private and, Anyway, off track again. I digress. Let me go back to Moline. In Moline, so he checked out of the hospital at 9:34 in the morning, but somebody was tweeting from Paisley Park. So, yeah. Now, the other thing that's really interesting, you guys, is not only the time zone changes, but when they talk to the pilots, Jason Gallus, I believe, and Betchelt, they said that they had timed out that pilots could only fly for 14 hours, and that's why Prince had to wait at the hospital for another plane, because pilots can only fly for 14 hours. So if they left the Atlanta concerts at around 11:30, which is what the report says, and stopped in Moline at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is what the report says, a little over an hour. When you do the time change, those times might be off, but I calculated them and it makes them as if they were in the flight for about an hour and 9 minutes, which is relevant as well. And sorry, they did all this intentionally. And let me just say on that, because I forgot what I was saying, that you guys might find it interesting too, that they landed the planes in a place where Iowa, Kansas, and Illinois come together. So there is like a time change right there. But they don't tell you about any of that in the reports. They sell that same old Dr. Howard Kornfeld story in the media, and that, Prince was addicted to all this medication. And then never mind, I don't want to get off track. So the pilots had to get another plane. Now, on the plane, you guys, I touched on this on my other videos, but I want to get back to something. I want to call them Goofus and Gallant. If you're of a certain age, you might remember the Highlights magazine. And in that Highlights magazine, they had Goofus and Gallant. Well, I'm trying to be the good one, whichever one that was. But Jason Gallus, it reminds me of Gallant. So Goofus and Gallant. Yes, I know. Anyway, this is what William Irvin Betchold had to say. He reported that the Falcon 990 Dassault Falcon jet, if you didn't catch it on my other videos, these jets can fly up to 5,950 miles without stopping. And I believe they can go 690 miles per hour, something like that. And that's the kind that Kirk felt it necessary to fly around in with his Lifetime Fitness crew. Because that's what the pilots report, not me. Here, Richard said that that the jet that they used was property of Lifetime Fitness, that the jet was property of Lifetime Fitness. Now, when this jet was not in service for Lifetime Fitness, they chartered that jet out through Executive Jet Management, or Jet Speed, which is also, guess whose company? You got it. They're in bed with Kirk. It's all in there. They go on to say that that Kirk would fly around, and I believe this goes back to 2009 when Kirk left the camp, as they call it, at Paisley Park to go be with Lifetime Fitness and other such things, training probably of some sort at the facility. Who knows? Before he came back. So anyway, now also when you read these reports from the pilots that were flying, as well as the flight attendants, there's a couple ladies in there. They both said they received the manifest the night before, that they both knew that they were flying with Prince. Gallus said that he knew Kirk from Lifetime Fitness, but he didn't know the female. Now, what's important to know is here, Kirk was actually described as 5'7", 5'8", mid-30s, whereas the other person described the bodyguard as 300 pounds, big black guy in a suit carrying Prince off the plane like a baby. So I don't know how Kirk could be 5'7", 5'8", probably could carry Prince, I'm sure, but that's not 300 pounds and carrying somebody off a plane like a lifeless baby. That's the difference. So Sean Powell, maybe. Sean Powell is Kirk's cousin, who signed in on the sign-in sheet, Paisley Park, the day of the investigation. But moreover, what's interesting about him is he was a big guy like that. And I know I went off subject again, but all these things are important. In fact, some medication, some lady in the file, it is noted that a person who bought a house right near Paisley Park in 2017. I'll find it for you guys another time. But she called the police and said that she found medication in her house in the name of, I might have it here, actually, one second. In the name of Sean Powell. So, here it is, you guys. Okay, Chanhassen deputies responded to the city of blah, blah, blah to meet, they blacked it out, to meet with a resident who stated she recently purchased the home and located several prescription medications inside the residence she believed would be associated with the Prince death. The homeowner advised that she knew Prince's bodyguard used to live at the residence, Kirk Anthony Johnson, and she wished to turn over all the medication to the authorities. Sorry about the glare on my glasses, you guys. I can't see myself, so... Deputies obtained 3 bottles of medication along with a tube of prescription facial cream, which were in the name of Sean David Powell, believed to be Kirk Johnson's nephew and an alleged bodyguard for Prince. The medications were identified as amlodipine, blah, 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 I'm not sure what, 7 tablets, some cream, another something with 20 tablets and another something with 18 tablets. I looked it up elsewhere, but I don't have it. But what I remember is one of them was, I believe, for like fading your skin or something like that. One was for infection. And one of them, I think, is prescribed the disox dioxycycline. I think it's that one. I think that's something that's only prescribed to females if they have some kind of bacterial infection. I think that's the one they looked up. But again, don't quote me. I think that's the one though. So I don't know why Sean David Poe would have that. I mean, perhaps they prescribe it for other stuff. Anyway, so interesting to note that that there is a big guy. Now, if you read the files, it'll tell you that other witnesses were known to have said that, for instance, Prince's brother, Omar Baker, he was talking about people being in the lobby. There was another bodyguard that they were talking about. His name is Chris Gaither. He actually seemed like maybe one of the good guys. I'm not sure. When you listen to Gaither, Chris Gaither, who said he was a bodyguard, he worked since 2012. He said that Kirk Johnson started touring with Prince again after the concert at the White House last year, which was June 13, 2015. That's when he did the Obama concert. So that's when Kirk started hanging out at Prince's camp again and flying the Lifetime Fitness jet, Dassault Falcon 990 around at his leisure, as well as planes full of women. I think that maybe I don't know if their ego got the best of them. I don't know. When you do more of the investigation, this is where, prior to that, they started bringing in Phaedra and all these other people, and a lot of things got replaced, and they started paying people around Paisley Park by 1099s instead of W-2s, and there was a plan in place, you guys. It was implemented to steal the money. It was implemented to steal the production rights, the reproduction rights, the copyright. It goes very, very deep. And if you watch my other videos, I'm staying away from a lot of really big subjects right now. But there was a plan. I mean, these people, Bob George, we're going to refer to the evil people as Bob George. That's what I want to call them. How come we can't have a party? We just want a party. Anyway, listen, they met at the Eden Prairie movie theater, to make these plans. If you look up the theater, you'll see that it's one of those theaters where you can lay back in the luxury chairs and this and that and have business meetings. And in fact, people do it all the time. It's not just a movie theater. If you're a follower of the music and, the life, you'll know that's what people said. Is Prince was known for renting out the whole theater and watching shows like Nemo and Barbarella and, different things like that. But what I'm saying is, in a movie theater, you can surely get a bunch of people together and have some private meetings and arrange some things. You guys, if you watch the other videos, oh, there goes my battery. Just 1 second. That always happens to me, I tell you. Unfortunately, I'm never too far. Yay. As I said before, this file is all the phone records. And when I say all the phone records, I don't mean just the phone records like the 911 call and stuff. Like when you get in, there is, for instance, there's the police reports for the whole years of 2015 and 2016 and stuff like that. I have done all of this research, you guys, because I don't want to let them get away with this. We can't let it happen. Like, he gave us so much love and light and positivity. And listen, you've been bamboozled, you guys. And I'm trying to limit what I say in each video, but I wanted to get another new one out there. Touch on some of the things that were going on Moline. And I'm trying to encourage you guys to grab the file and start reading it and looking it up. And why is it relevant? It's not just relevant to me because I care and I love the music and all that stuff. It's relevant to the whole world, you guys, because what was sold to us is going to end up being the lie of our lifetime. And it has to do with our Creator and how He gave to us and what He gave to us. And He gave it to us through music. This is part of that. You know, He said it ain't over, and it's not. So I'm running out of words because the housemate just got home and I could hear them talking in the background. So it's making me lose my train of thought, but I might make another video later. Listen, I know my videos are kind of random and out of order on YouTube, but each of them having something important and relevant. I just wanted to say thank you for listening and watching, because it's hard to live in that universe and mine and try to be brave and try to understand who I am and why I can hear these things. So you'll probably see a couple different versions of me. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with those thoughts, okay? And I'll be back to do another video. So, mwah.